I used to think our marriage was perfect. Not because it actually was, but because that's what I told myself every time I scrolled through our old photos or posted yet another smiling selfie on social media. Look at us, I'd say inside. My head, the perfect couple. We had the house, the cars, the weekend getaways, the kind of life everyone envied. People would comment, "You two are goals," like it was some kind of fairy tale. But no one knew the silence that filled our home the moment the camera stopped clicking. "Did you remember to pay the electric bill?" I'd ask Griffin one evening. He barely looked up from his phone. "Yeah, I did. Don't worry about it." I swallowed the lump forming in my throat. That "don't worry about it" was more like "don't bother me." It was how he responded most days. The same way he'd reply when I tried to talk about anything real. "Griffin, can we talk?" "What about?" His tone was clipped, tired, but not tired enough to excuse how cold it felt. I bit my lip. "I don't know. Us. I feel like we're drifting." He glanced up, eyes already clouded with disinterest. "We're fine, Cassidy. Stop overthinking." That was the first time I felt the ice settle in my chest. I remember our early days, the spark, the laughter, the late-night talks. I thought that flame would never die. But now, even the smallest attempts to reconnect felt like reaching across a vast, empty room. I was the only one stretching my hand out. "Dinner's ready," I'd call out, hoping he'd leave his screen and join me. He'd grunt something vague, not even moving from the couch. Sometimes I'd sit there, plate in hand, eating alone while he scrolled through messages I wasn't meant to see. One night, I tried to break the wall again. "Can we go out this weekend? Just us." He looked up, eyes narrowed. "I have work, Cassidy. You know that." "But you said that last weekend." He shrugged. "I'm tired." I nodded, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Okay, that okay felt like admitting defeat. I started paying attention to the little things, the signs I'd ignored before, like how he stopped kissing me good morning, or how his arms no longer wrapped around me when we slept, how our conversations shrank to "how was work" and "what's for dinner," and then silence. "Did you see the game last night?" I asked once, desperate to share something. "No." "Why not?" "Not interested." I felt invisible, like a ghost haunting a home he no longer wanted me in. One afternoon, I caught him staring out the window, phone in hand, a strange smile on his lips. When I asked what he was looking at, he just said, "Nothing." But I knew it was something I wasn't part of. My friends started noticing. "You two look different," Sarah said one day over coffee. "More like roommates than a couple." I forced a laugh. "We're just busy." Busy. That word became my shield and my prison. When I brought it up with Griffin, he rolled his eyes. "Can't you just be happy with what we have? Stop trying to make everything a big deal." His words hit me like a slap. I wanted to scream, to tell him I was starving for something more than bills and schedules. But instead, I nodded and retreated to my room, tears burning my cheeks. One night, I found myself scrolling through our wedding photos. The day we promised forever. His hand in mine, eyes full of hope. I traced the smiles with my finger and whispered, "Where did you go?" The next morning, I tried again. "Can we do something special for our anniversary? Just the two of us?" He looked up, surprised. "Is that this month?" My heart shattered. "Yes, Griffin. It's our anniversary." He nodded, distracted already by his phone. "Right? Cool." I swallowed the lump in my throat and turned away. That was the moment I realized how alone I truly was. Some nights, I'd sit by the window, watching couples walk hand in hand, laughing and talking, and I'd wonder when we stopped being that. One evening, he finally said something that echoed in my mind. "I'm tired, Cassidy. Can you just let me be?" "Let you be? What about me?" I whispered into the silence. He didn't answer. I tried. Everything. Surprise dinners, new outfits, opening up about my feelings. But all I got back was exhaustion, disinterest, or worse, resentment. Why do you care so much? You act like I'm some kind of enemy. I wanted to shout. Because you've stopped caring about me. Instead, I nodded quietly, retreating deeper into myself. I started avoiding friends' gatherings because I felt ashamed. Ashamed of a marriage that looked perfect on Instagram but was crumbling behind closed doors. I caught myself rehearsing conversations I'd never have, writing letters I'd never send. Please don't forget me, I wanted to say. Please remember, I'm here. One morning, I found his coffee cup abandoned on the counter, next to my untouched breakfast. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of everything pressed down. Whispered to the empty house, "Is this what love looks like when it fades?" But even as I spoke those words, a small voice inside me refused to give up hope. Maybe, just maybe, we could fix this. Or maybe I was holding on to a dream that was already dead. I found the text just after midnight, the glow of the phone screen cutting through the dark like a knife. Griffin's message popped up, a string of words I wasn't meant to see. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing." I stared, unable to blink, as if reading it again would somehow change the meaning. "What's that?" I whispered, though I knew the answer. He didn't answer at first. When he finally looked up, eyes heavy and annoyed, he said, "It's nothing, just work stuff." Work stuff doesn't say, "Can't wait to see you again." My voice cracked, disbelief twisting my throat. He sighed. "You're imagining things. I'm tired, Cassidy. Stop digging." "I'm not imagining anything. Who is she?" The question escaped before I could stop it. His face hardened. "Why do you always jump to conclusions? Can't you just trust me? I trusted you, but this..." I held up the phone. "This isn't trust." He shook his head, standing up. "You're being paranoid. This is why we fight." Fighting, I thought. I'm just trying to breathe while you're drowning us both. I sank to the couch, the words swirling in my mind like poison. How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? My stomach twisted, remembering nights he came home late, claiming overtime, disappearing into his phone, shutting me out. The anniversary was last week. I had waited for him to notice, to bring home flowers or say something special. Instead, he didn't even acknowledge it. "Did you forget our anniversary?" I asked, one morning, hoping for an honest answer. He looked at me like I was crazy. "What anniversary?" "You know, the day we got married. Last week." He rubbed his eyes. "I'm sorry, Cassidy. Work's been rough." That was all. An apology without feeling. I wanted to scream, to shake him awake from this numbness. "How can you forget? It's our life, our history." He looked away. "Stop making a big deal." I clutched my chest. The cold weight of loneliness settled deeper. I replayed every conversation, every silence between us. Was I really just being paranoid? Or was this the truth hiding in plain sight? The nagging voice told me to believe in us, but the evidence was screaming otherwise. One evening, I tried again. "Griffin, we need to talk, please." He didn't look up. "Talk about what?" "Us. What's happening to us?" He paused, fingers hovering over his phone. "Nothing's happening. You're just insecure." "Insecure?" I laughed bitterly. "I'm invisible. You don't see me." His eyes flickered with irritation. "Maybe because you don't say anything interesting anymore." The words cut deeper than any silence. I whispered, "I miss you." He shrugged. "I'm here." Being physically present but emotionally absent was the cruelest kind of loneliness. Days blurred together. I watched him retreat further, into screens, excuses, and lies. One night, after a silence that lasted too long, I asked, "Is there someone else?" He looked up, eyes cold and tired. "Why would you think that?" "Because I found the message." He scoffed. "It's not what you think." "Then explain it." He shook his head. I'm done with this conversation. I sat alone, heart pounding, tears threatening to fall. That's when the dread took hold, a heavy, suffocating weight. I realized I was a stranger in my own home, sharing space with a man who no longer loved me. I wanted answers, closure, but mostly I wanted to stop feeling so utterly alone. The nights became the hardest. I lay awake, replaying memories, searching for signs I missed, blaming myself for what I didn't see. One night, in a rare moment, Griffin said, "Maybe we should take a break." A break. Like our marriage was a thing you could pause and resume. Whispered, "I just want you to want me." He didn't answer. That silence broke me. But somewhere inside, I clung to a fragile hope. Maybe this was the beginning of the end, but also the start of something new. I just didn't know what that would look like yet. I remember the moment I found out. It wasn't just a name or a face. It was a punch to the gut that knocked the breath out of me. "Her name's Emily," Griffin said, avoiding my eyes. "Emily?" I repeated, my voice trembling. "From your team?" He nodded, still looking away. "Yes." I felt my hands shake. "How long?" "Months," he muttered. "Months." I couldn't stop the anger from bubbling up. "Right under my nose." He said nothing. Later that day, I called Sarah. "You won't believe what I just found out," she sighed. "I'm sorry, Cass. I wish I could say it gets easier." I laughed bitterly. "Easier? How?" "I know it feels like your world's collapsing. It's okay to feel broken." "Broken isn't even the word." I sat there, the memories flashing, our first date, his laugh, the way he held my hand. Were those moments lies too? Or just moments before the cracks? When I confronted Griffin again, the anger spilled out. "How could you? Emily? Someone I see at work." He said, "It just happened." "Just happened? Like it was an accident?" "No," he said quietly. "I was lonely. Lonely. We were married. I didn't know how to tell you." I wanted to scream. "You didn't know how to tell me, or you didn't want to?" He stared at the floor. "Both," I told Sarah. "I don't know if I can ever trust him again." She held my hand. "You don't have to decide now." I swallowed hard, tears burning my eyes. It's not just betrayal, it's humiliation. It's everything I thought we had, gone. She nodded. "You're allowed to grieve." That night I stared at our wedding photo, tracing his smile with my finger. Was any of it real? Griffin walked in, quietly saying, "Cassidy, I'm sorry. I don't know what to believe anymore. You have every right to be angry." I looked up, desperate for something. An apology, a promise, anything. He just sighed. "I messed up." And that was all. I realized then that healing wouldn't come easy, but talking to Sarah helped me find a sliver of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could find my way back to myself. "I can't keep doing this," I said, my voice barely steady as I faced Griffin across the kitchen table. "You say one thing, then do another. How am I supposed to believe anything you tell me anymore?" He rubbed the back of his neck, eyes flickering with irritation. "You're blowing this way out of proportion, Cassidy. It's all in your head." "In my head?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "I found the messages, Griffin. Months of lies. How is that in my head?" He leaned forward, voice low and controlled. "You're twisting things. I never meant to hurt you." "But you did," I snapped. "Every day with every secret, every excuse, every time you dismissed me." He sighed, like I was exhausting him. "Maybe if you stopped accusing me all the time, we wouldn't be like this." "Accusing you? I'm just pointing out facts. You can't gaslight me into feeling crazy." "Maybe you need to look at your own behavior. Maybe you're the one pushing me away." I clenched my fists. "Don't you dare turn this on me." "I'm just saying you don't make this easy." "Easy? You want easy. How about being honest for once, or caring enough to fight for us?" He shook his head. "You want drama. You want a fight. I just want peace." "Peace? You call ignoring me, lying to me peace? He stood up, voice rising. I'm tired of this. You act like I'm the enemy. I stood too, voice trembling but fierce. Because you are. You broke us, Griffin. And now you want me to fix it while you sit back? He laughed, cold and hollow. Fix it? You think this is all on me? It's on both of us, but I'm the only one trying. I'm the only one who cares. Maybe because I'm done. Done? You're done. After everything? Yes. Done pretending this marriage means something. I took a step back, heart pounding. So what now? You just walk away? He shrugged. I'm not the one who's been lying. I shook my head, tears, stinging. I can't do this anymore. Then leave. I don't know if I want to. Then stop wasting my time. The room felt smaller, heavier. I realized I was standing alone in a relationship that had crumbled beneath us. I whispered, I deserve more. He looked away, cold. I knew I had a choice. Keep fighting a losing battle or find a way out. And maybe, just maybe, start fighting for me. I never expected to feel seen again. Not like this. It started when Mark from work asked, How are you really? I blinked, caught off guard. I'm okay. He smiled gently. You don't have to say that if you don't mean it. I hesitated, then whispered, It's been hard. He nodded, his eyes soft. Want to grab coffee after work? Just talk. Sure, I said, surprised by how easy it felt. That evening we sat in the quiet cafe, the hum of conversations around us fading. I notice you, Mark said. Not just the surface, but the real you. My heart ached. It's been so long since anyone did. He reached across the table, his hand warm. You deserve that. I swallowed guilt. I'm still married. I know, he said. But that doesn't mean you can't feel alive. I laughed, bitter. Alive feels like a distant memory. He squeezed my hand. Maybe we can find it again together. Days passed, and our talks grew deeper. He listened when I spoke about Griffin's coldness, my loneliness. I told Mark things I hadn't shared with anyone. One night he asked, Do you want to be happy? I looked down, conflicted. I don't know what that means anymore. Maybe it's about choosing yourself. The words echoed inside me, but the guilt lingered, a shadow that followed every smile, every stolen glance. Cassidy, are you okay? Mark asked once, concern evident. I forced a smile. I'm trying. Meanwhile, at home, Griffin barely noticed my absence. Where have you been? He'd ask, disinterested. Out, I'd reply. The contrast between them was stark. One, ignoring me. The other chasing pieces of me I'd buried. One afternoon, Mark said softly, You're worth more than what you're settling for. I nodded, tears pricking. I'm scared. Change is scary, but staying isn't easy either. I realized I was living two lives, one fading, one awakening. My heart was torn between loyalty and the hope of being truly seen. I didn't have answers yet, only questions. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was starting to find myself again. The message was out. Everyone knew. I didn't plan it. But somehow Griffin's secret wasn't hidden anymore. At Sarah's dinner party, I overheard whispers, friends exchanging glances that burned through me. Did you hear about Griffin and Emily? I felt the room spin. Later, my sister's voice was sharp over the phone. Cassidy, what happened? People are talking. I don't know what to say. She sighed. You have to say something, or they'll believe everything. When I faced Griffin, he was furious. How did you let this get out? I didn't. It's not like I wanted this. My voice broke. You ruined us. I swallowed the shame. No, your choices did. His anger flickered to hurt. I'm the bad guy. You made that choice. Friends avoided me. Family whispered behind closed doors. I felt exposed, humiliated. But through the storm, Sarah held my hand. "You're not alone," I admitted, to her. "I don't know if I'm the victim or the villain." She shook her head. "You're human, hurt and betrayed." Griffin's attempts to play the victim only pushed me farther. I found strength in truth, in raw honesty with myself and those I trusted. For the first time, I wasn't hiding. I was ready to rebuild, starting with me. "I'm done waiting," I said, voice steady, but my hands shaking as I sat across from the lawyer. "I want a divorce." The room was silent except for the faint ticking of the clock. "Have you considered counseling?" she asked gently. I shook my head. "I've tried. He's not interested in changing." I felt a surge of relief, finally admitting out loud what I'd been holding inside. Back home, Griffin's face twisted with disbelief. "You can't be serious," he said. "We can fix this." "I'm not sure I want to anymore." His voice dropped, almost pleading. "Please don't throw everything away." "I'm not throwing away anything. I'm taking back my life." Setting boundaries wasn't easy. When he called late at night, I didn't answer. When friends asked about us, I kept my distance. Some days, the loneliness hit hard. Am I making a mistake? I wondered. But then, a text from Mark. "You're stronger than you think." That small message lit a fire inside me. Memories of pain still haunted me. But I learned to hold hope too. I started saying no, to disrespect, to lies, to being invisible. Griffin's facade cracked. Once cold and distant, he now showed flashes of regret. But his apologies felt hollow, too little, too late. I realized healing wasn't about him. It was about me, reclaiming who I was beyond wife or betrayed woman. Step by step, I was finding myself again. I stood in front of the mirror, looking at the woman who had survived so much. "You're still here," I whispered. "You made it." My phone buzzed, a message from Mark. "How are you today?" I smiled softly. "Better, stronger." I thought about Griffin, the lies, the coldness, the betrayal. I felt anger still, but it wasn't all consuming anymore. One evening, I confronted him one last time. "Have you changed?" I asked. He looked down. "I wish I had." "That's not my problem anymore." I walked away, leaving behind the weight of our broken past. With Sarah, I shared, "I'm learning to love myself." She smiled. "That's the hardest love to find." I realized love isn't just about being loved by someone else. It's about knowing your own worth. I remembered nights of tears, moments of doubt, the endless ache. But I also remembered the small victories, the courage to speak up, the choice to leave, the freedom to grow. Now, every step forward felt like reclaiming me. I wasn't just a betrayed wife. I was a woman who had found peace inside her own heart. And that was the beginning of everything.